I I have to. I have recently found myself reevaluating how I judge, define, look at uh, people who come from the life that I come from in those streets. On a very high level. And I don't mean like the streets. Your status on the streets is defined by your actions, and a lot of times the respect is predicated on the amount of violence that you display or how you handle your business. Really, it's really if something happens, if something pop off, there's no question they know that you about to handle that. So those are the people that I'm referencing to. Those who actually were in the streets and actually may have had a body or two, and they still here to tell the story. Or they've done some very violent things that are forever burned into their brain. Like you can't unthink these things, these visions, because you were there, you experienced them firsthand, or you created them. You did it. And what people don't understand, what they don't talk about in the rap music and the scene that they cut out or don't even write into the movies, is the psychological blowback that comes with that only grows as you age and over time. Yeah, in that age, in that time frame, in that scenario that you were in when you did it, your compassion level was zero to little to none, because you felt that you were sticking to the G code and doing what was needed to be done in this life that you were raised in, engulfed in, that you have learned. You have a PhD in, well, you at that time you didn't necessarily have a PhD, but you at least had a bachelor's in what goes on in these streets and how to handle yourself accordingly, so that you can obtain the ultimate objective, and that's coming out of that shit alive in the free world. Uh, so when you at that certain level to where something pop off, you can handle that ASAP, then you're not thinking down the line. You're not thinking 10 years from that time. You're thinking right now. Are you in a situation where it's him or you? Or whoever, is kill or be killed. Either be judged by 12 or carried by 6. You choose. But right now is where you got to make that decision. And instinctively, because you're cut from that cloth, you handle yourself accordingly. You still here now to talk about it. That's who I'm talking to right now. That's who I'm dealing with right now when I say I have to change how I look at that cat when he's now turned into a certified full-blown crackhead, smoked out junkie, or a certified or wino, alcoholic, drunk as a skunk every time you see him, or pill poppers or whatever. I had to think about it. It hit me like psychologically, that type of trauma, especially considering the fact that it only grows over time, because it has no way to be redirected. It's in you. Like that memory is forever in your mind. You will never lose that image, that sound, the smell, the look in the people's eye. That all of that shit is in you forever. Whatever the connect, it ain't about just killing somebody. It's a violent act that was next level, some made for movie type shit. Like, oh my God, did I do that, or did I witness that, or was I a part of that, or did I just see that? Like, are you serious? This day, like, I haven't even seen this in a movie, in the most violent movie you could think of. I've seen this with my own eyes. I've seen these things. These people that I'm referencing to have seen these things. I've done these things. So you got to understand the trauma, the psychological trauma that comes along with that, because no one's addressing that. It's a hood thing. You got something mentally going on, you and your feelings, self-medicate. Pop something, roll something, smoke something, drink something, fuck something, shoot something, beat something. That's how we do it. It's not sit down, Open up. Have a conversation about what transpired and how you feel about it now. How it has impacted the decisions that you have made since. How you can't stand to see this man's son or daughter or his mother. You took a child from their mother. You have children. Like no, you have to have conversations about these things. Be it good, bad, or indifferent. However it happened, and you're still here. And if you're a monster, then hey, I don't really got nothing more to say to you. That's on you, man. You got something else going on that I can't address because you just pure evil. But that be you. Do your thing, man. But and I know some pure evil people. I have rubbed elbows with some pure evil people that just they cut differently, and psychologically and mentally, I don't even like. I could be around you, I could deal with you, but we don't vibe all the way through the same way. But if you're someone who was put in a position and you handled yourself and you survived, you might have done some gangster shit that might have been labeled evil, but you're not an evil person. That's what I'm talking to. Like you, those things that you were a part of, those things that are sketched in your psyche forever, they have to be addressed. Otherwise, those demons will continue to chew away at your soul. And you're wrestling with your mind. The worst place to be, the worst form of torture is to force someone to be stuck inside their mind. No interaction with anybody else. That's why solitary confinement is probably the worst form of torture, because you will lose your mind. You can lose your mind. Even if you come back from it at some point of extensive time alone with yourself, you're gonna lose your mind because you're gonna over question everything. There's nothing more to do. There's no one else to talk to. There's no other distraction in your mind but your mind. So you are overwhelmed by your mind. So when you get in those positions, you go to prison, or you're depressed in your life, or your girlfriend left you, or you can't keep a job, but you're still in the life, and you ain't figured out the next level is to get away from the petty hustling and evolve into some more sustainable income. You are in the space where you're gonna have these thoughts, and they're gonna turn into you, and the only way you know to deal with them is self-medicate. So I now look at you differently. I apologize for judging you, calling you weak, because I was just so happened to be strong enough to overcome all of the depression and all of the thoughts and all of the blowback that came from all the violence that I have executed, and all of the violence that I have experienced. And I had to reflect. I could just as easily be, whoever, smoked out, And we don't think about that coming from where we come from. It's either strong or weak. That's the only way we look at it. Oh, man, he's smoking dope. He's weak as hell, man. But I look at it different now. And we have to, as a people, if we want to build and strengthen our core, because without our core, we have nothing. Like, we already don't have a foundation because we're so separated. We all over the place. We finding new ways to label separation, to divide ourselves. Every day is something new. It's a new set. It's a new gang. It's a new trend. It's a new style. It's a new acceptance. It's something new to shun upon. It's crazy, man. We take so much pride in being so a part of something new, and individuals, when we don't understand that the strength comes from us being one worldwide individually, and you get that power that other races have always had, have never lost. They never lost it. There was never a time frame where being European was not cool. There was never a time frame where being Chinese or Japanese was not cool in Japan. You know, there's never like it's not cool to be African in America. It's not cool to be African American in Africa. That shit don't make no fucking sense. Like, you actually got people that are looking down on people that look just like them, who come exactly from where they're from. It's you go back far enough, come from the same exact space, and we still dogging one another. And just like me starting this video talking about how I judged and looked down on someone who has self-medication issues instead of a drug problem. You know, we just look at it as a drug problem. You're a junkie. You know, you got bored or you wanted to try something and you turned into a junkie. You stupid. Wow, man. People got demons, especially the cats that I'm referencing to. They done seen some things. They done some things. They done caused some things. They took some folk up out of here. You know what I'm talking about? They ain't playing. It's the cats that rappers are rapping about. Like, they real. They do exist. These stories are real. And these are people too. And I'm not justifying killers that just taking babies and innocent people up out of here. It don't matter how they did it. Whatever they did, they still have to address those things. They're still stuck with those demons. Just like the family who lost are stuck with losing their family member. They're tortured. It's a mother that will never see their child again. They're tortured and they self-medicate. It's both sides of the spectrum, you know. Obviously, we got to stop killing one another. That's first and foremost. That's the most obvious solution to the problem. We got to love one another more than we hated one another, and not be so comfortable and so quick to rap about and talk about how easy it is to kill one another. Like, that's the shit. Like, if you can't kill a nigga, then you ain't shit. That's retarded, man. We the same ones that are so hurt by the injustices that go on against our people. And I'm not by any means suggesting that you start rapping about killing anybody. But if it's so comfortable and so cool for you to rap about killing yourself, somebody that look just like you, come you ain't rapping about killing these crackers that's killing us wide open in broad daylight and getting away with it. Rap about that shit. Rap about them. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't, a lot of you rappers that's rapping about, and I ain't just dogging rappers, I'm just talking about us as people, our culture, our narrative, our language, the way that we communicate with one another. Nigga, I kill you. Nigga, it's nothing for us to go from 0 to 100 against one another. But you go from 0 to 100 on social media with Zimmerman, you know, and these other cats that committed these heinous crimes against people of our color, and for the purpose of being evil towards us. But yeah, we can't show that same energy and anger towards them, but we can with our own people. It's just crazy how we think and how we're wired and how we're so conditioned to continue on a cycle, and then have the audacity, just like myself, and I'm talking about myself. Understand, anytime I'm on these videos, I'm talking about myself. I'm checking myself. Everything I reference to is something that I have been a part of. And I'm at a point in my life where everything is so much clearer. I got a homeboy, and I love you to death, TK, Troy Kyle, Soldier. That's my brother. Like, on some real shit. That's one of the realest dudes I ever known. And before I turned 40, that man told me, when you turn 40, everything gonna change. And he said, this ain't no cliche talk, this some real watch. You gonna see it and it's gonna trip you out. And he was spot on. I remember like it was yesterday at 12 o'clock midnight, December 1st, when I turned 40 years old. I looked at my life with like, whoa. And from that point on, I've looked at everything differently. Like, I see why I do what I've done. And I also see people differently, and how I view people, and how I judge people, and how I look down on people. Because at my 40-year-old age, even though I feel I'm behind, it's cats my age is still doing shit that we was doing when we was 20. Like, You on a whole another level of fucked up behind. Like, what is you doing? You 40 and you doing what you were doing when you was 20. And I got angry about it initially, but now at 40, I look at it way different. Like at 44, I look at it way different because as my 40s, like the 40s is like, oh yeah, it's all about to be real clear what it is now. So I look at it different, and now I no longer want to just judge someone, knowing everything that I know about what could possibly be their disposition, especially when I know them. If I know them and I'm still judging them, and I know their whole story, who am I? What does that make me look like? Like, what type of person am I if I can look at a man knowing their story and still judge them for their disposition because I think of it as simple as they being lazy or they're not putting forth the effort just because I was able to? No, man, that's foolish thinking. Everybody wasn't blessed to be as strong as your mental state is, or your will is, or your drive is, or your ambition is. Everybody isn't gifted to be that way. That's not for everybody. And if you call yourself a king, then how you can't deal with your people accordingly? That's all your people. That's anybody you come in contact. You create a kingdom. You can create a kingdom. That's the beauty of the life that we live in now, the world that we live in now. You get up off your ass, you get your grind behind you, you get your spirit, your mind, and your knowledge behind you, and you put a game plan together to uplift, inspire, motivate, empower, financially secure the people in your circle. That's a kingdom, player. That's how you build a king. That's why I claim king, because that's what I'm doing. I'm creating a kingdom. But in doing so, all of it comes with it. You can't just be this bad big with your chest out, showing all your pictures of how you a vegan and you all ripped up and buffed up. You mentally on a whole nother level, and you ain't got the weakest link on point to where they understand their purpose and their role, and you understand their purpose and their role, and you don't judge them for it. You uplift them. You know their limitations, but you also ought to know their abilities, because they still have abilities. Everyone has an ability. I don't care how much you look down at them as worthless because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing or what they need to be doing. I'm dead ass wrong for that thinking. So, in ending all of this, every day from this point forward, I'm going to look at everyone that I come in contact with, every black person that I come in contact with, every junkie, every lame, every square, every peon. It's going to be hard, but even every snitch. I don't respect you because that's just who I am, and that's how I come up. To the fullest, I don't respect you, but I can still respect your value that you still possess, because you still have some value and some worth. That's not a death sentence. But like, if you did, like, as far as the streets go, yeah, like the G code and all of that, yeah, your name is shit. Ain't nothing you can do about that. But the real world isn't just predicated on what happens in the streets. The real world doesn't know about the G code, doesn't care about the G code. It ain't got shit to do with the G code. So if you was just, that's why it's so easy for a kid who come up, don't know nothing about it. Oh yeah, I'm snitching off top, because they don't know that. They don't know that that's not the thing to do.